In the headlines, no strong arm approach, but squatters will have to be relocated, say housing ministers. German authorities intercept a large shipment of cocaine that originated from Guyana, and the agriculture minister says this could affect Guyana's export. GuySuCo has no money to pay wages and will need some $1.6 billion to stay afloat. The Ministry of Housing plans to tackle 62,000 housing applications that are pending. And in sport, SAR want to miss CPL for personal reasons, Taylor to play anchor role for the Amazon Warriors. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that the newly appointed Ministers of Housing and Water, Colin Crowell and Suzanne Rodrigues, have assured squatters that an inclusive policy to relocate them will be in place soon, one that will not employ a strong arm approach, but rather a humanitarian one. The assurances from the ministers came on Tuesday during requested visits to several contentious squatting areas in Sophia and Durban Backlands. Details from Kurt Campbell.
The visits to several squatting areas by housing ministers Colin Crowell and Susan Rodrigues ended with assurances to squatters that their circumstances will be improved within short time. Minister Rodrigues said the New People's Progressive Party government has taken note of the approach used in the past, which resulted in anti-squatting units of the government moving in to demolish the houses of families. She told a large group of squatters in Sophia that the PPP government is not interested in any confrontation as it looks to ease squatting and intends to roll out all relocation and resettling policies in complete consultation with those who stand to be affected.
That type of strong arm approach, breaking down people's places and so on.
That's what being causing problems the last time.
I'm familiar.
They had nowhere for go.
I'm familiar with the incident. So we're here now to listen to you. We'll have to do some walkabouts in the area to make sure we capture everybody. Yeah. And we want to consult with y'all, meet with y'all, and make sure that when we come to an arrangement and we have a policy on this area, that everybody's satisfied and that we capture everyone.
Yeah. But even with this assurance in place, Minister Crowell said that while the ministry looks to address what's happening now through strict regularization efforts, it will not encourage any new squatting.
We will not necessarily be encouraging new squatting. I know we are trying to address what is happening now, because you have the tendency sometimes persons, when they hear that there will be approach, there will be no breaking, then they want to take advantage. So no new squatting will be allowed.
During talks with the squatters, the ministers heard of failed negotiations under the previous APNU-AFC administration and failed efforts by squatters themselves.
I end up here after getting 5 children, and it's me alone, and I didn't really have nowhere to go. After getting big, you don't know. I had to come on my own, and I decided, well, after this man on the front, he was the first man at the front, and I did long before she. You understand? So I come down at the back and I build a little place at the back there, and I did about 6 years or something.
6 to 7 years now. Recently, when there was on the tarmac, they collect the papers saying that they're going to give us a call, put your number at the back, big. Did it and nothing such as yet.
You ever check back with them?
Check back. I couldn't get to meet the person that I had to meet, because she said to come in, ask for her, and come into the office, and I didn't get to meet her.
What were you asked, man?
Well, boss, everybody got their own thing for say. I did apply and things, and I was to check back. Well, I tell you, how life going, and things, you don't know, things get frustrated, and I didn't check back. I tell you personally, I didn't check back, but the other day they come and they said they was to do something for me, and nobody didn't come, and there was a visit with this when, I tell you about the government that been in recently, you understand, them said they come around for make things happen for we, and they didn't none then come and do nothing. They said they come in and do something for we, they come and break we down.
The ministers promised prompt and coordinated action to have those issues addressed. The team from the ministry was particularly concerned with squatting taking place along conservancies where potable water is accessed. This prompted a visit to Durban Backlands, where the ministers were updated about the contamination of the water, along with the conservancy that helps the Guyana Water Incorporated to supply the capital city, Georgetown, and its environs with potable water. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
We tell you now that the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, has requested a detailed report from the Guyana Rice Development Board, the GRDB, on a cargo ship container of rice from Guyana that was found with a massive stash of cocaine on Monday in Germany. The minister, during a virtual media briefing on Tuesday, expressed concern that this can affect Guyana's international trade.
But I am very concerned too, like you, that those things will affect our export, and we'll have to put measures in place to avoid future recurrence of those things. But it's very, very serious, and I asked the manager of GRDB to provide me with a detailed report so that I can brief the president. First of all, I have to look, there are a number of issues you have to look at. Who are the shipper, when it was shipped, when it left Guyana, how it went out of Guyana, and things like that, right? The carrier and things like that. Those are some of the information we'll need, and I hope the GM will provide those information so that I can brief the relevant authority.
A reported tip-off led police authorities in Hamburg, Germany, to seize over 300 million euros worth of cocaine in the cargo ship container. According to a spokesperson for the Customs Investigations Office, this is one of the largest quantities ever seized in a northern German port city. The container had arrived in Hamburg's port at the end of June on the 300-meter-long container ship. Officers found 47 large packages hidden between the rice sacks, and within those packages, a total of 1,277 small parcels with cocaine. The contract of Richard Van West Charles, the chief executive of the Guyana Water Incorporated, GWI, has been terminated. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell confirmed that the contract for Van West Charles was terminated effective October 29, but he is being sent on administrative leave immediately. Van West Charles was written to by the chairman of the board of GWI to hand over any property and records in his possession. The contract for Van West Charles was slated to expire October 2021. When a Newsroom returns, a man's car is stolen in broad daylight outside the bank's DIH, and GuySuCo has no money to pay wages and will need some $1.6 billion to stay afloat. As of today, August 11, Guyana has recorded a total of 602 confirmed COVID-19 cases. 34 new COVID-19 cases were recorded on Tuesday, and a total of 98 cases were recorded within the last 4 days. There are 391 persons in institutional isolation, including 4 persons in the COVID-19 intensive care unit. 49 persons are in institutional quarantine, and the number of recoveries remains at 189. To date, 5,366 COVID-19 tests have been done, and 22 persons have died. A brazen daylight hijacking of a red Toyota Alliant motorcar, PMM 9484, occurred Monday in front of Banks DIH Limited in Georgetown. The stolen car is owned by 29-year-old Anil Singh, a driver salesman employed with the company. Singh explained that he would usually tally his sales for the day, and on the day in question, he went inside the building for about 20 minutes, during which the car was stolen. The Guyana Police Force has since set up roadblocks and alerted all police stations. Singh, who did not want to appear on camera, spoke with the Newsroom Tuesday about what occurred.
After I finished my usual day sale, I went in to the office to balance up my day sale, and I saw from the veranda my car, and then I leave to go into the bakery within a 20 minutes. So when I came back for the car to load up some pastry, the car is gone, and I reported to the security, and she made a report to the senior security, and after that I went to Rockville station to make a report. So while filing the report, the security called and said they saw the footage with the vehicle that do the thieving or whatever, and after that we were checking the footage, but I put it up on Facebook, and someone saw the car around the Harbor Bridge area. So the CID rang, and we head up to the Harbor Bridge, and we saw the extrail live past M&M for the East Bank side. So we got out of the car to approach him. He saw my work ID and he sped off. Well, the camera footage saw the guy was bracing my car door, the driver's side door, but you can't see what he was really doing. He was there like for 5 to 10 minutes, and after that the door opened and he went sitting in the car. He sitting there for like another 10 minutes before he drove off.
Your car didn't have an alarm?
Yeah, it had an alarm, but I usually lock it with a key and lock all the doors, because as soon as anything passes, the alarm just keep going off, and it's like a nuisance. So I would never really expected something like this to happen.
Okay, what other steps have you taken today?
Well, I went to the insurance to report it, because the car is full cover. So they have to do their part, and they're gonna do a follow-up with the CID report. And the police said they have already put out a station report. They have 1 or 2 roadblocks, so whatever the information they receive, they're gonna act on it. To be honest, I have that car for the past 3 years. It's like a family car. I only use it for work and family use, and my kids and they love that car. I had to go home and look my son. He had tear in the eye and he's like, Daddy, who thief the car? And I don't know what to tell him. If anybody out there see my car anywhere, and probably give me a call or the nearest police station. Hope I find it back safe.
Anyone with credible information on the whereabouts of the car can contact 621-5517, 642-3617, 220-0290 or the nearest police station. The Guyana Sugar Corporation, GuySuCo, will not be in a position to pay wages to sugar workers from August 21, the Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, revealed during a virtual press conference on Tuesday. It was found that the sugar company would need $1.6 billion from now until the end of the year to stay afloat. Isnala Patwa tells us more.
Newly appointed Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa said after assessing the state of affairs of the Guyana Sugar Corporation GuySuCo, it was found to be in an extremely depressing position. The 3 remaining sugar estates are currently suffering from lack of capital funding, and this has negatively affected production. The sugar production had a shortfall of 9,461 tons in the first crop, and it is likely that in 2021 the production will continue to be weak due to low achievement this year. It was also revealed that GuySuCo will not be able to pay wages from August 21st.
The corporation will not be in a position to pay wages from weekend in 24th of August. Under the previous administration, a request was made to NISIL for an amount of $1 billion, but only $550 million was received to date. The $1 billion is required to cover operational expenditure until the corporation commences receipt of sugar proceeds, which will become available in the second week of September.
It was also noted that the National Industrial and Commercial Investments Limited, NISIL, is still to pay an outstanding $9.5 billion to GuySuCo from the $30 billion loan secured in 2018. The previous APNU-AFC government took the loan through NISIL to assist GuySuCo. However, only $10.2 billion was made available to date.
The APNU-AFC government through NISIL undertook a loan of Guyana $30 billion under the guise of assisting the corporation. To date, only $10.2 billion was made available to GuySuCo. The GuySuCo board, no answer as to how much was actually disbursed to NISIL, and NISIL plans of repaying the loan. To date, the corporation has a total liability of $9.5 billion.
Meanwhile, current projections show that GuySuCo would require an additional $1.6 billion between now and the end of the year to keep the industry afloat, as revenue sales from sugar and molasses will not be sufficient to cover expenditure for this period. The minister further reiterated the PPP's government promise to reopen the 4 closed sugar estates. Minister Mustafa could not provide a time frame or how much money will be needed to reopen these estates. A conditional survey of the various estates and an assessment of assets with NISIL would have to be done, the minister said.
In terms of the time frame to reopen the closed sugar estate, first of all, GuySuCo does not have any assets presently. All the assets of GuySuCo were taken over by NISIL. So we have to establish back again. GuySuCo will have to own or get back these assets. We have to find out the state of the $30 billion loan. Even the board of directors from GuySuCo, they does not know how much money was disbursed to NISIL. They only received $10.2 billion. And the NISIL is saying that, look, they have made requests for another $2 billion, and NISIL has only given $500 million. So That's an issue we'll have to work out.
It was also noted that the 3 operating estates at Blairmont, Albion and Afloat is in urgent need of funds to be fully operational. The former government closed the Rose Hall, Skeldon, Wales and Enmore sugar estates in a grand plan to restructure the sugar industry. As a result, thousands of sugar workers were fired in what was deemed the largest retrenchment in the local public and private sector. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Isnella Patwa.
We tell you now that the new Ministers of Housing and Water have expressed shock at a huge backlog of active housing applications that are currently pending approval, some dating back several years. Kurt Campbell reports.
Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell, during visits to several squatting areas on Tuesday, revealed that there are currently 62,000 pending housing applications that are being processed, with new applications being submitted daily. Crowell, along with his junior minister Susan Rodriguez, said they were shocked to learn this huge backlog during briefings earlier this week, but assured that priority will be given to reducing that number significantly. He said some of the applications have been processing for several years with little to no progress because of various issues.
You have some of them going years back, and for various reasons too, because some of them, the area for which they're applying for not available, or for regional preference, and there's not land available within that particular region. So, or sometimes everybody wants region 4 and that kind of thing. There are various reasons. That is something we're looking at now, and we're of course in the not too distant future you'll hear more us speaking more on this in terms of how we will aggressively pursue this matter.
Crowell was supported by Minister within the Ministry of Housing Susan Rodriguez, who didn't stop short of criticizing the housing policy of the former David Granger-led government.
Minister Crowell and I were shocked that that is the amount of backlog that we face, and part of the reason for that is that there hasn't been any kind of housing policy over the last 5 years. And since 2015, there hasn't been any government subvention granted to Central Housing and Planning Authority. So that clearly shows that that housing was not a priority for the previous administration. And so we have this backlog. So we're going to have to prioritize. Of course, we made our commitments in our manifesto, but we will try our best to reach our target and to ensure that these emergency situations are dealt with as expeditiously as possible.
Minister Rodriguez said under the new leadership and PPP government, housing will be prioritized with the delivery of commitments made in the manifesto. The PPP in its manifesto had promised to deliver 10,000 house lots annually to Guyanese. Kurt Campbell, Newsroom.
Still ahead on the Newsroom, the September reopening of school is not yet confirmed, and a Berbice fisherman involved in a triangular love affair is shot dead. Welcome back. This is the Newsroom. As the People's Progressive Party government puts its plan in place for the safe reopening of schools, the Education Minister Priya Manikchand on Tuesday met with members of the Guyana Teachers Union, the GTU. The GTU was invited to the meeting by Minister Manikchand, where she listened to the union's views about the impact of COVID-19 on the education sector and teachers in particular, according to a press release from the ministry. Schools have been closed in Guyana since March, with those sitting examinations at the primary and secondary level returning only to sit those examinations. Minister Manikchand and representatives of the union looked at a number of possibilities, including virtual learning on platforms such as Zoom or Google Classroom, the learning channel, or a physical opening, which seems to be the most important issue to address presently. They all agreed that whatever decision is taken, that children and their families must be safe while keeping children engaged academically. September is usually the beginning of a new academic year. However, GTU expressed the view that schools were unprepared at present to accommodate a physical reopening that would allow for the safety of all involved, the release noted. A final decision has not been made relative to the physical reopening of schools. The Education Ministry continues to engage stakeholders on the issue and commits to making an announcement soonest. Now, the police are on the hunt for a suspect who shot and killed a 33-year-old man on Monday evening in Berbice. Dead is Winston Robertson, called High Rollers or Red Man, a fisherman of Cotton Tree Village, West Coast, Berbice. He succumbed to his injuries on Tuesday morning at the New Amsterdam Hospital in Region 6. According to reports, at approximately 19:30, Robertson was at a car wash in Cotton Tree when the armed man opened fire on him. Newsroom understands that prior to the shooting, there was a confrontation between Robertson and the female, during which the female was physically assaulted. The male suspect, who is said to be the partner of the unnamed female, reportedly went after Robertson, killing him with a fatal shot to the chest. Meanwhile, Robertson's wife, Diana Samantha Robertson, told Newsroom that she is still trying to come to grips with the devastating news. She said she is unaware of the allegations by a suspect that her husband was in an entanglement with his partner. The woman described her husband as a caring and industrious person who took care of his family. Up to late Tuesday afternoon, the police were still trying to locate the suspect. The priority focus of the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, once there is a budget, is to manage the disposal of solid waste, improve local infrastructure and utilities, and enhance governance by building activities to improve relationship with residents. Isnella Patwa reports.
Minister of Local Government and Regional Development Nigel Darmlal, at a media briefing on Monday, said the ministry in the coming weeks will begin consultations of economic plans that will be pursued in every region of the country. Visits will also be made to communities across the country by the ministry to listen to the concerns of residents and decide how best to assist them. It was noted that President Irfan Ali and Vice President Bharat Jagdeo are currently working on a budget. Once there is a budget, Darmla listed some of the priorities that the ministry will focus on.
And our priorities will be to deal with enhanced governance. Our priorities will also focus on solid waste management, which is one of the critical areas of need in our country. We will also be building activities that are important to enhancing the relationship between our residents and the government. We would be focused, as Minister Anand Prasad said, on local infrastructure almost immediately, on local utilities almost immediately. And in the next few weeks, we will begin the consultations on the regional economic plans that we intend to pursue in every region.
Darmlal revealed that in going forward, the ministry plans to develop communities with a hand-in-hand approach. He explained that no policy or project will be implemented without the input by community leaders and members.
And we believe that this can only be done by stronger collaboration, by working closer together, by listening to our citizens, and I think most importantly, reacting positively to the issues, to the concerns, the observations, and even the complaints that our citizens make on behalf of their families, on behalf of their communities, and on behalf of the national collective.
10 regional democratic councils, 10 municipalities, and 70 neighborhood democratic councils fall under the ministry. Darmlal said an information system will be established in every region to provide feedback from residents on any concern or issue. The Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development will also be embarking on a plan to ensure every community has electricity and greater security. Darmlal further promised that the People's Progressive Party, PPP, in its elections manifesto promised 50,000 jobs and they intend to deliver. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Issanella Patwo.
When the Newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sport. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. The experienced New Zealand batsman Ross Taylor is looking to play the role of an anchor in the Guyana Amazon Warriors team. Taylor replaces Shoaib Malik, who performed a similar role last season. Akim Green reports.
At 36, Taylor has played 273 T20 matches, which brings a wealth of experience to the Amazon Warriors, given the absence of Malik. The Pakistani is unavailable due to international commitments in England. Taylor's addition should complement the young and promising talents of Brandon King, Nicholas Pooran, and Sherman Hetmeyer in the top order. Open quote, Shoaib Malik has got a fantastic record, especially in T20 cricket, and especially for Guyana as well, Taylor told ESPN Cricinfo. I think he has got that anchor role, and a role that I'll be looking to do as well. Hetmeyer and Pooran, I've played with him, Pooran, before. They are not just exciting players in West Indies cricket, but in the world as well. I'm looking forward to see how they go and grow. It's an exciting team to play for, and every time I played against Guyana in the past, they've always been tough competitors. End quote. With CPL 2020 set to be played in just two venues in Trinidad and Tobago, being Queen's Park Oval and the Brian Lara Stadium, the pitches are likely to deteriorate faster than usual. Taylor admitted that tackling spin could be a major impact on the tournament. Open quote, every team is stacked with quality spinners, and we expect spin to play a big part and probably reverse swing throughout the whole tournament, he said. Traditionally, it does spin a lot here anyway, so the way you play spin is going to be very important. Some of the world's best spinners are here, and it's going to be a good test for us batsmen going forward. End quote. Coming into the CPL, Taylor reckoned all players involved would face a sense of unease, having not played competitive cricket for a long time. Taylor last played competitive cricket in March and will have his first taste since the pandemic come August 18th, when Amazon Warriors face three-time champions Trinbago Knight Riders in the tournament's opening match. For the Newsroom, Akim Green.
Some interesting news now. A week before the 2020 CPL takes off, disgruntlement has been brewing among several franchises who are unhappy with the Trinidad-based players and staff, most of whom represent Trinbago Knight Riders, being allowed to remain outside the biosecure bubble and continue to train while the rest of the squads are cooped up in their hotel rooms for more than a week. Among those being critical is Darren Sammy, the St. Lucia Zouks captain, who said everyone should have taken part of the bubble from the first day to guarantee that the health and safety of all stakeholders is not compromised. Some of the Knight Rider players who are from Trinidad include internationals Kieran Pollard, Dwayne Bravo, Darren Bravo, Suren Narang, Lendell Simmons, and the emerging young talent Jaden Seals. On Tuesday, CPL sent out a media release saying that Zouks and Knight Riders were the first two teams to be allowed to train. The release also said that the local Trinidad players and staff had cleared a mandatory testing process and would start entering the bubble this week. Still on CPL news, the Jamaica Talawas assistant coach Ramnaresh Sarwan will play no part in Heroes CPL 2020. Michael Hall, CPL's tournament operations director, confirmed on Tuesday that the former Guyana and West Indies cricketer has been granted permission to leave, citing personal reasons. Hall addressed the issue during a virtual press conference on Tuesday.
We received notification from his franchise, Jamaica Talawas, that he was requesting permission to leave the tournament because of a personal matter. In circumstances like that, we take it at face value, and because the person has identified it as a personal matter, then we're not going to pry to ask them to disclose what that personal matter is. So I can confirm that he has left the tournament and that he will no longer take part as an assistant coach with Jamaica Talawas. He has been replaced in the coaching staff of that franchise by two Trinidadian nationals. One is Vinod Maharaj and the other one is Ryan Austin.
Still in cricket, New Zealand are set for a full program of international cricket during their summer with men's tour by West Indies, Pakistan, Australia and Bangladesh, while a visit by the Australia women's team is also in the early stages of planning for the gap created by the postponed ODI World Cup in February. New Zealand cricket is currently working with the government on the biosecurity measures that will need to be in place for touring teams with visitors to the country currently required to isolate for 14 days on arrival. David White, the CEO, said they are looking at the model similar to that used by the England and Wales Cricket Board during their ongoing season, which was the first international cricket to resume amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Switching now to some football news, it has been well over a year since Elite League football has been played in Guyana. Colin Jaguars head coach Marcio Maximo is hoping that when approval is given to restart football, the league can quickly return to complement the regular and intense national training sessions. The Brazilian native has pledged to give more local-based players opportunities in Jaguars colours, but lack of local football will hurt their chances.
You've made a commitment before that you want to include more players that are based in Guyana. But the problem for you is that there isn't an active league. It's been quite some time since the Elite League is running. So I know you have sessions at National Stadium with a select few, but how difficult is it to get more local players when you don't have competitive football in Guyana?
Very, very good question. All the time, we have a good relationship, good interchange with local coaches. Local coaches sometimes come to the trainings for national team trainings to see our trainings, to participate of the trainings as well. I can mention many coaches that come to see. Also, like you say, we do regular training, sometimes 5 days per week with local players. It's very difficult for them having the same numbers in the clubs because it's true, you know, the situation that our clubs have some difficulties. We keep a balance in between local national team trainings and the clubs trainings. We have a good relationship with the coach and we do it. Of course, our trainings are very intensive. We put the video training, you put a field in the field, most in the beach. We create the big atmosphere in all areas for our players' improvement. We believe it. We believe with this regular training, plus some friendly games that we organize with GFDF, we can minimize this problem. Because, of course, I would like that the league starts soon. But we don't have a league at the moment. We can doing myself, Coach Wilson Toledo, and my staff, Charles, Levi, Rivera, my manager, Admin, we can organize good trainings like you're doing to keep a balance and maintain the shape of the players and the competition, because the trainings are very intensive, also very competitive. We put the practice, we put the tactical training, physical training, technical training, psychology training, everything involved to give it to them all conditions to maintain the level.
We tell you now that the Guyana Boxing Association stands ready to engage the government in conversation on the way forward for the sport. Boxing has won Guyana's lone Olympic medal, and according to President Steve Ninval, the association is eager to foster a working partnership with the current administration. Under the guidance of Ninval, the Boxing Association has consistently updated its action plan and is among the very few local associations that has made public a 4-year plan. In congratulating the newly elected government, Ninval said the aim is to have a working relationship with the administration to bring to fruition some of those plans.
I know there's a lot of expectation as it relates to the sport discipline. There are a number of things that we would want to see, but I would wait until there's a conversation with the subject minister and we would lay out our plans. Of course, you know that the Guyana Boxing Association is maybe one of 2 associations that would have, in the last 8 years, would have forwarded 4-year plans to the National Sports Commission and by extension the government of Guyana and the Guyana Olympic Association.
Ninval indicated that for varying reasons, all aspects of the plan have not been fulfilled.
However, we will hope that the new administration, we can sit down and hammer out issues. It is no secret that boxing is a priority sport in Guyana, and I think that if it is a priority sport, it should be treated as a priority sport. So we expect to have cogent conversations with the subject minister, with that ministry, and in collaboration with the Guyana Olympic Association and Corporate Guyana. I think that the sky is the limit for our sport from here onwards.
Boxing has been widely regarded as the sport most likely to add to Guyana's solitary Olympic medal. To this end, the association has been engaging in various developmental programs to give local boxers the best opportunity to excel. However, like other disciplines, the association has had to grapple with limited financial support to execute its lofty plans. Reporting for Newsroom, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Some Gulf news now to wrap up sport. Next Gen Gulf Academy and Driving Range opened its two-day evaluation camp for children aged 3 to 14 on Monday afternoon, attracting a decent turnout. The participants went through their paces under the guidance of professional coach Colin Ming at the Wilford Avenue facility. The idea of the sessions is to provide youngsters with a foundation knowledge of the game, with the ultimate aim of them developing a liking for the sport, thereby expanding its base. For more information about the Next Gen Gulf Academy and Driving Range, please check Facebook or Instagram, call 645-0944, or visit the facility on Wilford Avenue. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, newsroom.gy, our Facebook page, or Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Be safe. Thanks for watching.